effects. Point number two, Mansur said earlier, and if you noticed his articulation of Allah's hands, he said that he doesn't go too far into it. Okay, he says that Allah has hands, they're not physical, but we don't go into the howness. We don't go into what it is, because Allah has hands in a way which befits His Majesty. There are two problems of this. Number one,
He does have the eye of the tiger. Are you sure about that?
We can only go as far as God described Himself, who He is.
it's a non-cognitive statement to say that. Because when you say that God has something in a way that befits His Majesty, but we can't describe what it is, then what you're saying is that this statement doesn't have intelligible meaning to it, which means that Allah's hands don't actually have an intelligible meaning which any Muslim can understand. So I could substitute the word hand for blah, 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 and it would have the same meaning. Allah has two right blah, blah, blahs. Has the same meaning as hands because you can't define hands within your tradition. Furthermore, Mansur appeals to this is just the way that befits Allah's Majesty. This is what we call appealing to mystery. Now, it's funny that when Trinitarians do this, Muslims have a really big problem with this. If a Trinitarian says God is a Trinity, and a Muslim says, okay, what do you mean by the term Trinity? And I say, we don't delve into the meaning. The Trinity is what befits God's Majesty. Mansur's going to say, no, that doesn't make any sense. But Mansur does the same thing with Allah's hands. So the problem is if you're going to use that, you have this thing called a principle of implosion, that when you ask anyone else about their beliefs, they can always appeal to mystery and say, look, we don't go into the howness of how this thing works. It's just that we appeal to the mystery of how it works, which is fine if you want to say that. It's just not philosophically coherent, okay? Mansur